Hello, team in training. This is Coach Mike welcoming you to the first episode of Media That Matters. Trying to give you a little bit more of that fantastic media that is out there to keep you out there killing the miles for team in training. Got a beautiful day out here in Camas, Washington, so I just had to be out in it. I am sure a lot of you can feel me on that, being stuck indoors for so very long in this fantastic quarantine 2020. It just feels good to have some nice weather and be outside. We had rain all week long, which is great for the home garden, but absolutely awful for getting miles in. I'm sure a lot of you are doing some treadmill runs and certainly getting a lot of cycle miles on your trainers. But what we wanted to do is start this series to give you some interesting media to either watch or listen to while you're getting those indoor miles in and while you're training alone. So some of the things that I've been really loving is kind of spread all over the different platforms. I'm going to talk about podcasts, audiobooks, different series on different platforms, and things that are just pretty fun and motivating and that you might find interesting when you're trying to crank out some miles. And apparently there's a hummingbird that really wants to get to the feeder that I have over here, so I'm going to back away a little bit. If you keep hearing it, he's angry. He's very angry. So definitely one of my favorite media adventures that I've been going through lately is all of the wonderful documentaries on Amazon and Netflix and, gosh, the Icarus documentary about the Russian training for the Olympics. Wow, that is really next level stuff, and you really get into some very interesting conversations about what people will do for the sport. Of course, the Lance documentary is coming up in, the end of the month. I think it's May 21st. 24th is the first portion of the ESPN documentary. Look for that coming May 24th, really delving into his rise and fall from fame. Probably very much like you, I was completely entranced with Lance Armstrong and Livestrong and that entire organization. Just absolutely infatuated with it. And as a cancer fighting organization and a wellness organization, of course, it's very easy to tie into that story and see how wrong it went and how they really held on to one person and how it all fell apart. Really a bit of a sad story, especially for the fight against cancer, but one that luckily we don't need to worry about, and we are constantly all rocking our purple as individual warriors against leukemia, lymphoma, and myeloma. Every single blood cancer, we kick it, boom, right in the asphalt. Definitely enjoying those series and looking forward to the Lance series for sure. Listening to some really fantastic podcasts out there. Endurance Nation, if you're not familiar with them, fantastic triathlon podcast that really breaks down training, some race reviews, and a lot of really frank discussions with athletes. And I think it's something that if you're into the triathlon sport or if you're even just mildly interested in endurance sports at all, it's a really great conversation on training, recovery, and what we can do for ourselves to get better. Certainly there's a slew about marathoning out there, but one that I've really keyed into recently is running on Om. Really great, thoughtful, meditative conversations about what running endurance actually does for you. It's really quite nice, and they actually just did one a little while ago with a really fantastic Portland area runner, Kate Brown, and not Kate Brown, that's the governor, but another, I'm going to forget now entirely. I'll bring notes next time, guys. We can laugh about this later. But Running on Om is a fantastic podcast that you can very much enjoy. I think that there's probably going to be a slew of different recommendations that I can do. Unfortunately, I can't play them because all sorts of copyright infringement happens, and then I get kicked off of YouTube Live. So the intention is to kind of talk about these things and then provide links in the post that will come afterwards. So I'll definitely be posting to Icarus down below, Running on Om, which again is a great running podcast. Endurance Nation, fantastic resource for all of those great triathlon race training and recovery, and actually some pretty great nutrition as well. For a purely enjoyable, kind of calming really, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine just because there's 3 seasons of it, and I don't usually dedicate that much time to watching things. But it's Grow, Cook, Eat on Amazon.com. It is just adorable. It is Irish show all about home growing, very much in that right now, as you can see, trying to get that garden going. Got quite a few different setups out there, and the idea is, of course, to get some nice natural food for myself right in my own backyard. But it's all about a particular fruit or vegetable. Each episode, it's super charming because they're Irish and they're all like, "Oh yes, just as long as the soil is really healthy and you're watering it well," and all of a sudden you're just in love with both of the hosts. And then they bring fantastic chefs in to show you how to prepare it well. Just this idea of getting really good food in a time where so many of us aren't able to go out as much as we'd like, and we can't go to our favorite restaurants. It's an opportunity to learn a little bit more about how we can prepare our own food, and not just make mac and cheese all the time, but do something really delicious and really healthy, and potentially out of our own backyards, or hanging gardens, as the case may be. I think it's a great episode. Again, that's Grow, Cook, Eat. Super charming, 3 seasons, and entertaining and educational, which is really kind of fun as well. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. If you have delved into any pandemic or end of the world viewing, I definitely understand the impulse. I know that quite a few folks have jumped into watching the movie Pandemic on Netflix. I thought about it, but it was just a little too close to home. A enjoyable sci-fi version of that I enjoyed was Seven Eves. It was an audiobook that I chose to listen to, and it was just so delightful. It was so good, and it was still had the messiness that we're experiencing in our lovely day today now of people arguing about how to do things correctly. But their version was giant asteroids destroying the planet, so a little bit different than a virus. So I had a little bit of detachment there. Clearly a nerd, so sci-fi was right up my alley, but it still had that thing about people coming together and working towards a common cause to help other people, which I really loved, and still gave me a little bit of hope. Long listen. So if you are at all into audible.com, oh my gosh, what a great app. Really enables you to get out there for some really long miles on solo, listen to something awesome, with, of course, an open earbud thing like my awesome titanium Aftershocks, or a one-ear situation. Always be safe out there on the roads, folks. It's a great opportunity to kind of connect with something while you're getting these miles in. And speaking of connection, of course, we all do team and training for, a very specific reason, and that's to kick blood cancers in the booty. It's not just about getting that training in. It's about doing something more with our training. We had a fantastic shout out in Disney Insider, episode 5. If you're on that Disney Plus, you can check that out. It is a pretty great episode, talking, at least the first portion of episode 5 is actually about the Disney marathons and the half marathon, marathon, 5K, 10K that, of course, Team and Training is all over. And they actually interviewed 2 of our fantastic alumni and got to talk about what that race means to them and what Team and Training means to them. So if you're looking for a little bit more of that connection to that team, feeling so much love for it, jump onto Disney Insider on DisneyPlus.com. It's a real fun watch and brings you right back to that team feel. So that's it. Super short first episode. We're going to have some links for you down in the description below. Thank you so much, guys, and go team.